Hi. So I was going to go live on Facebook and do some makeup because I am in the house, I'm bored, and there's like nothing to do. But then I decided I should just do this on YouTube. I have a whole YouTube channel and I haven't posted in a while because life. And I was like, why not? So this is my first of hopefully many makeup videos. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Corey Jackson. I am a salon owner and licensed cosmetologist, and I happen to be a makeup enthusiast and a makeup artist. I really love luxury makeup and indie makeup. I stumbled upon Kinky Sweat's videos and her love and enthusiasm about these luxury brands, and I was like, so I kind of dove in, and y'all, I've been swimming in the deep end ever since. I will never go back. A little bit of a snob, but that's okay. So yeah, thanks for being here. This is not really a tutorial. I'm kind of just gonna mess around, maybe do some swatches, introduce you all to a few of my favorite brands, maybe a few of my favorite indie brands. When it comes to like the sparkles and the razzle dazzles and all of that, they do it, and they do it so well. So anyway, stick around and let's play in some makeup. By the way, my nails are janky, but again, I'm stuck in that. So here's a little background on my skin. I am what is called medium deep or tan deep, depending on which makeup brand. I have neutral to peach undertone. I'm 39 years old, aging a little bit. However, melanin, she's my homie, so I'm not aging too bad. But I do have aging skin. I have oily skin, but it is what it is. Because I'm oily, of course, I have pores. Yeah, they rude, but they're there in their mind. It's that's all I got. I do have an auto-inflammatory disease. It's called Hidradenitis Suppurativa. So my skin is extremely sensitive. I am prone to post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, which most people who are, deeper tan, anybody with a lot of production of melanin, we are prone to hyperpigmentation. So I deal with that mainly in my cheek area and like my chin, but hey, it is what it is. It's the only skin I got. It's the face I got, so I just make it do what it do. I used to be really like big on like trying to camouflage everything, and then I got to a point where I was like, well, there's nothing wrong with me, and I don't want to use makeup as camouflage. I don't want to use makeup as like a costume. I just wanted to enhance me, like what I already have. So I'm cool with my hyperpigmentation. I'm cool with my pores. I'm cool with my slight wrinkles and, my slight rosacea right in here. It is what it is. It's mine. My face has been fine for 39 years. My face, I got married with this face, so it ain't too bad. So yeah, we're just going to use the makeup to enhance the beauty that's there. I'm not going to use it as a costume anymore. I don't need to hide myself. There's nothing wrong with me. See me use some things that will help combat my oil production. And I don't wear a whole lot of dewy products. I've actually just gotten into wearing like dewy products, like dewy foundations and stuff forever. There was the social media taught us that oily skin needed to be matte, like that matte, that powdery matte look was where we were going. That's what everybody was doing. So that's what I was doing. Like, baby, like my skin was angry with me because it was like, my skin was like, but wait, we produce oil, so why are we stopping this? So then it was producing more oil because I was mattifying it so much. My skin was like, wait a minute, we're gonna do the oil situation. That's what we do. So I kind of stopped fighting against it, and I've kind of started embracing dew and glow, and so I've kind of gotten into that. Like a little bit of a healthy glow, I'm with it. She's my friend. I do like her. Glow is good, but I hardly ever do like matte anymore. I just allow the oils to be with me. They're my friend. They're part of the reason why I'm 39 years old, about to be 40, and don't look it. Hey, okay. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to use today, to be honest with you. I might want to highlight Pat McGrath. Admittedly, I'm a Pat McGrath stan. Also, if you hear crunching or like noise, my little Chihuahua baby is eating, and his food is right beside me, so excuse. But yeah, I kind of want to highlight Pat McGrath because in the luxury space, okay, I love everything that's like glittery, shiny, like cosmic, spectral, celestial, like blam blam, bling bling, bleamy. Is that a word? I'm gonna make it a word today. So it's like bling and gleam put together, bleamy. Yeah, let's run with that. Pat McGrath is the one that's gonna deliver that. It's like her wheelhouse. There is Natasha Denona. I love Natasha Denona, and she makes beautiful palettes. She makes beautiful color stories. She's actually she does really good when it comes to that. But you're not going to find anything that's like just razzle dazzle with Natasha Denona. She does have like some multi-chromes and some duochromes and even some triochromes or whatever, but they're a little more subdued, and literally nothing about me is subdued. Like, she has great quality stuff. I have pretty much all of her MIDI palettes except for Retro, because I was not feeling that color story. Well, wait, am I lying? I think I'm lying. No, I'm not lying. Or maybe I am. Yes, I'm lying. I have lies. I don't have, what is the name of that?
2,000 years later.
I don't have the pastel palette. I don't like pastels. Personally, I don't like how pastels look on me. So, yeah. But, so I don't have the pastel palette, and I do not have the, okay, it's still there. It's still there. Okay. Oh, and it's still there too. Okay, I want to get this. The Zendo, the MIDI. So like, I don't have any of her big palettes. I have a couple of her little mini palettes. But I do have all of her MIDI palettes except for the pastel palette and the Zendo palette. Again, I don't like pastels at all whatsoever. And the Zendo palette, the color story just, it was not. It was lacking. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. It was a lot of warmth and cool. And me being a cosmetologist and a colorist more specifically, the color wheel is really important to me. So like warmth and cool, while they can go together, they also have a tendency to cancel each other out. And so putting a warm and cool like color on the eye, if you are not careful, and even if you're extremely careful, they neutralize each other. And so the colors go from the pure colors that they are in the pan to this weird muddy brownish, sometimes grayish. It's not attractive. So it's like, yeah, no, I don't need that. I have one of her larger palettes, not a big palette, but it's one of her larger palettes, and it's the Circo Loco palette, which I actually really love. Color story is actually beautiful. It's actually one of my favorite palettes by her, believe it or not, just because it's so out of the box for her. Natasha Denona is kind of more, it's safe. And so this was like a step outside for her. And I was like, yes, I'm here for this. And so I picked it up, and it's a beautiful palette. So I don't know, I could, when it comes to like bling bling, Pat McGrath is the one. I have all of the motherships, and I have both of the mothership megas. Now, okay, my favorite of all time mothership is 3, Subversive. But this is the newest one. It's called Utopian Dream. And okay, so Pat McGrath is like all into like rosiness, and it's starting to get a little bit mundane, a little same pony. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want to see new ponies. Can we see new ponies? Y'all have to understand, in the luxury space, multi-chromes are not something that's done a lot. And when they are done, they're super toned down. Like, they took a stab at it, but didn't quite finish it out. And so Pat McGrath kind of goes for it, you know? I'm gonna swatch it for you. It's just a beautiful shade. But look at this. She has this shade beside it. A stunning shade. It's a topper, so it doesn't have a whole lot of background, but good grief, guys. How did we ever live without her? How did we do that? Like, before I was using Pat, how did I do that? What was wrong with me? It'll never happen again. It'll never happen again. So, I don't know, I might just do all indie. Decisions. So one of the indie brands that I absolutely adore is Adept Cosmetics. They have beautiful color stories. They make beautiful shadows. They are some of the creamiest butteriest, slickest, most pigmented shadows you will ever lay eyes on. I mean, you guys just don't even understand. It's an amazing thing. This is the Plain Jane Remastered palette. Look at these swatches. Can you even? I'm gonna swatch this one close to Pat because they're kind of similar. So let's see how they look at this. So they're similar, but they're not the same. Pat's is a bit more copper and Adept's has a bit more plum, but the shifts are very similar and the backgrounds are both black. So they're both beautiful colors. And then this is the Nahindran palette so that you all can see, look, like the pigment in these shadows. I'm gonna swatch this one. I mean, their multi-chromes are just, oh, just so good. I mean, just so amazingly great. And I'm gonna swatch one of their mattes for you because mattes can make or break a palette. It's just not gonna do it. Look at that. Look at that swatch. So this is a brand that I actually love, Bella Beauty Bar, and they're an indie brand. And this is the Star-Crossed Lover palette. So all these shades in here are actually beautiful. There's one shade that I don't really like, and it's this shade right here. Okay, so I'm gonna swatch Vendetta, and Vendetta is a beautiful shade. I'll just go along there. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. And I'll swatch Star-Crossed for you. Let's swatch that one here. Oh, can you even? So now I'll swatch for you the one that I'm just not a fan of it, okay? And it's Juliet. It's this one right here. And you'll see it as soon as I swatch it. Got these chunks. I'm just not a fan. Do you see that? That's the only one that I'm not a fan of. It blends out okay, but you do really have to work with it. It's just a lot of work. But yeah, so, and then let me swatch this one next to the pad. It's called Dagger. It's this one right here. Next to the Pat McGrath, because it's very similar as well. Okay, so this was Pat McGrath, this was Adept, and this one is Bella Beauty Bar. So that's what I'm saying. You see, like, Pat does really good in the luxury space, like the mainstream luxury space. But indie shadows, they get it done, guys. One of my absolute favorite indie brands for the shifty of the shifts, Divina. This is their Solar Flares. I think that's what it's called, their Solar Flares collection. And they're all multi-chromes. So multi-chrome means that it's a shadow that has lots of different colors in it, and it shifts in color depending on how the light hits it. I'll swatch just a couple of them for you because they're absolutely beautiful. And they're butter. Look at this. Do you see that? Butter. Also, if you hear any talking, it's my husband. He's playing a video game. I might swatch this one. It looks pretty. Oh, good grief. Let me just... Look how long these swatch down, guys. Can you even? Oh, sick. Sick. There we go. Oh. Absolutely gorgeous. So that's Divina. So this is from a little company. I stumbled upon them like 2 months ago. It's called Saints Angel Centers. It's just good. And this is the Best Buds palette. And it's an ode to Bud. I'm with that. Little Bud ain't never hurt nobody. And so I'm gonna swatch just a couple of them for you because I'm sure you all can see. And the color story is so cute. It's adorable. They're all multi-chromes. There's no mattes in here. But I'm gonna swatch this one here. Mary Jane. Such a pretty color. And these are like silk too, y'all. I mean, just the creamiest, silkiest shadows. And I'm gonna swatch OG. Oh, beautiful. and indica. So pretty. Let's swatch. Let's swatch Kush. Kush ain't never hurt nobody. Look at that. Do you see how green? Look at this. Just the amount of pickup you get from these shadows it's insane. It is insane. So this is another one of their palettes. It's the Zodiac palette, and I love this. And this is another one of the palettes where like there's no mattes. They're all multi-chromes. I'm gonna swatch this one here. Which one is this? I'm gonna swatch Cancer. Y'all, it's just, do you see that shift? Butteriest shadows. Just, they're gorgeous. Truly, truly gorgeous. I'm gonna swatch Sagittarius next. Just, good grief. Ah, don't. And then finally, I am going to swatch Leo because I'm a Leo. Look at it. This one is called the Cupid's Arrow palette. And I actually love this Juliet. Now, in the big palette from another company, I didn't like the Juliet. But this Juliet, beautiful Juliet. Bonnie, truly. Silk. Let me put Eve up here. Just can't get enough. So then the last I'm gonna highlight is the Donna Fall palette, and it is by Adept Cosmetics, the Donna Fall palette, and they're another little indie brand. So there's some more in here that are similar to the Pat McGrath shade, and I'm just gonna swatch those. Okay, so this is one that's similar, and this is another that's similar. And then Caramel Apples, I just want to swatch just because it's pretty. Let's put Caramel Apples right here. I think I'm gonna swatch Boo. Boo just does it for me. This is Boo. Look at this. All right, I'm gonna shine the light. Look at those two shades there. The shifts in those shades. Okay, so now I'm gonna get into doing actually some makeup. I'm gonna do my foundation. And I think I want something a little dewy today. Except I'm not gonna do normal dew. I'm going to use a soft matte foundation. I'm gonna do some underpainting. I really like the technique of underpainting. I need to wet my beauty blender and I will be back. Okay, so I'm back. Prepped my skin, clean skin, moisturized it. And so now I'm gonna put on my primer. I use the Tatcha Silk Canvas in the pump, not the one that's in the jar. I don't like it. I don't use any more than 2 pumps of the primer. I'll also prep my skin before my moisturizer. I use a little bit of Nymph and Nymph really controls oils. Then I'm gonna come through and I'm gonna do my brows. I'm going to put my brows in place using the Anastasia Brow Freeze. Literally the best brow product I've used. I used to use the Benefit, but the Anastasia Brow Freeze came out and it is a game changer. I'm looking for my spoolie brush. I keep my brushes in a drawer. They are in little containers or whatever, but I put them in a drawer because since I have such sensitive eyes, if I leave them out, like dust falls on your brushes, and when the dust falls on my brushes and I use them on my eyes, the dust irritates my eyes really bad. So I'm gonna take my brows, I'm gonna brush them down. I'm gonna take some of this Brow Freeze on this end, and this is the brush that comes along with it. It's a spatula on one side and it's a spoolie brush on the other. So I'm gonna brush this down into the hairs because you want to coat both sides of the hair so that when you brush them in place, both sides are, covered. So now I'm going to take it, I'm just going to brush it in place, just like that. But I'm going to take a little bit more now that we've brushed them up. I'm going to apply the rest of that on the outside. So now I'm going to brush these in place. I really like the fluffy brow now. Take the spatula and slick down. And it holds them where they are. And it sets up pretty quickly. Nothing you really have to worry about too much. If you start to hear a weird noise, I have my fan going. And then after I'm done with that, I like to take a little bit, just a makeup wipe, and go right underneath where there might be extra brow product. Don't want that left behind on my skin because it can catch a hold to my shadow products and make a patchy look. If you don't have nails, then you can just take the end of tweezers and then clean up that way. You can get it to your edges. So I'll let those set up for a few minutes. So now I use the Huda Beauty brow pencil. It's called Bomb Brows. And I use the shade Rich Brown. And this brow pencil is so great because the tip is really, really fine. And so you can get into all of the little places and do some really good hair strokes. You see that? How thin that tip is? So I'm just gonna come underneath. I think I already said this, but if you hear laughter and cackling and all that, my husband's playing a video game with our sons. And they are just like partying. So yeah, I take this, I just do some hair strokes. It's a very soft pencil, so sometimes it will break. And that's okay. And do some more hair strokes just right in there. Some hair strokes here. I don't do the sculptured brow anymore. I've gotten really into natural looking, almost naturally occurring makeup. Also, I don't have to do a whole lot because I have powder brows. And so I got my brows permanently done. Basically, they're tattooed on. I didn't get microblading because I have oily skin. Microblading, because it is such a superficial stroke of pigment, and it's really superficial under the skin, the oils, just like with anything, push the pigment out very, very easily. And the oilier you are, the faster you'll lose your pigment. So I chose to do powder brows, which is actually done with a tattoo gun, but it's deeper in the epidermis, so the oils don't push it out as fast. Put in, and that's all it takes. We don't need to do all the extra like we used to do, like going in underneath. And you know, I will go in with a little bit of my concealer when it's time, just to clean up and shake them some, but we're not carving out anymore. At least I'm not. You know, a lot of people do still, but yeah, I'm not carving out anymore or anything like that. After I get my brows on, I take the spoolie again, and right on the inside here, I kind of brush up just to soften the edges a little bit, because I just don't like hard edges on brows. I feel they look more like a graphic brow. And one thing I do after I do my brows, I take a little bit of setting powder, and I use the Dior Powder No Powder setting powder. And I take a tiny little bit of setting powder and I set my brow. This is a Wayne Goss artist brush, and so I just go right along the brow bone and set them. Especially for people who produce a lot of oils, you want to set your brows, because if you're oiling your T-zone, those oils will come through and they will break up your brow. Okay, so that's that. So now we're going to get into the underpainting, right? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my concealer. I'm going to go between the LYS concealer and the Dior Forever Skin concealer. And LYS is a great company. It's a black-owned company, clean beauty. And they were the first clean beauty black-owned company at Sephora. Looks like the Dior is going to be a little bit lighter, and so that's what I'm going to use under my brow bone. So I take just a little bit of a flat brush, and this is a synthetic brush. I normally do not use synthetic brushes, but for stuff like this, I'll take a synthetic brush and I put just a little bit on the edge of the brush, and then you just go right in underneath that brow. And again, we're not carving, we're just cleaning up. I just don't carve anymore. I want it to be natural. Look at that. Gorgeous brow. Bam. That's it. Look how great they look. Isn't that not wonderful? So now we're gonna do the underpainting. And like I said, I wanna use something that gives me a little bit of a glow, right? I'm going to use my Teint Idôle Lancôme 24-hour Longwear. It is like staple. If you have makeup, if you do makeup, if you have foundation, you need this one. It's a beautiful soft matte, dries down soft matte, almost natural matte. It is full coverage. It's great. Like if you are going somewhere and you want your skin to look snatched, this is what you want to wear for that. But because it is matte and I want to do a little bit of dew today, I'm going to do something just a little different. Okay, so I'm going to take this Huda Nymph. It's called Nymph Glaze, and it's a skin glowing perfector. It's an illuminator. It's basically a cream highlight. I'm gonna underpaint. Underpainting is when you put something on your face underneath your foundation to do whatever you want to do. Like you can underpaint your blush, you can underpaint your highlight, you can underpaint so many different things. I'm just gonna use my sponge. I'm gonna take a little bit of it on my finger. I'm gonna put here. So this is where I want the sheen, right? In here, right? Just we like to have that little bit of sheen right in there. And then just a tiny little bit here, tiny little bit there. So now you want to take your wet beauty blender. You want to blend it out. Just right in this area here. Look at the sheen it gives. Isn't that gorgeous? And I use a beauty blender for this wet because it diffuses it really good, and you want it to be really diffused and soft before you put your foundation on top, because if it's not, then you get these weird streaks. Nobody wants that. Okay, so now we got that, right? Now let's go in with our foundation, and because I'm underpainted, I'm going to use a foundation brush that's a bit flat, and I can really like paint the foundation on where I want it to go. And this is my Chikuhodo, my T11. Always check your foundations. Foundation settle. Pump here and a pump there. I'm gonna take this and let's start to get this on. Okay. And this is a Sokoho goat hair brush. Of the natural hair brushes, it's a bit of a workhorse brush. It's a little bit softer than the Sokoho goat hair, but it's definitely still workhorse material. I always blend down to my neck. Less is more, you know. The more product you use, the more you run the risk of it sinking into pores and fine lines, and you start to look cakey, and that is not the look. Like, it's not the look, guys. It dries down beautifully. It blended out beautifully. I'm just gonna blend this up into my hairline a little bit more over there. It wasn't giving what it needed to give. Look at this. Now, it's not beautiful dew. So with the concealer, I'm gonna go right here. I wanna draw the eye up. Okay. Right there on both sides. Okay. I'm gonna put just a little bit down my nose. Like that. I want to put a little bit here as well. Okay. Now, I have a little bit of darkness around the side of my nose. So I go here, and I go here. And then right here on my chin. Also have a little bit of darkness beside my mouth. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go here. You can see the concealer's just a little bit lighter. Now, right here. And right there. That is all the concealer I use, y'all. Let your concealer dry down just a little bit. That's one thing I think people forget to do. They mess up in that way. You want to let it dry down just a little bit. Sorry for the sniff. Let it set up some, because then you'll increase your coverage just a little bit. And you know what? Right here, I think I'm going to increase my coverage right here on my hyperpigmentation just a bit. And right there. Just a bit. That's it. That is all the concealer you need on your face. And this is a Chikuhodo GSN 05. And this is a goat hair brush. This is not a Sokoho goat hair brush. This is a Psychoho goat hair brush. So it's a little more durable. Okay. So you let that set up pretty good. I'm gonna come right here. Right here. Pull it out and up. Always want to pull up, okay? Now, do you see that? And when I blend out my concealers and even my foundation, I do more of a tapping motion, because I've noticed that you can disturb what's underneath really easily when you drag too much on the skin. So now I'm gonna put a little bit more. And this is just the beauty blender I used before. I'm just tapping that just to bring a little bit of the glow back forward. And from there, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna set middle of our face with this Kosas Cloud Set powder. Y'all, so good. Silky, melts right into the skin. It's a beautiful, beautiful powder. In my T-zone and under my eyes. So now the rest of my face, I set with my Dior Powder. This is the Beautylish Yano series. This is a squirrel or fox. It's either squirrel or fox. Either way, it's a very soft brush. Squirrel hair, fox hair are both super soft brushes. And yes, I pull it over my other powder. That's my fan. I don't know why it does that. It's stupid, but it keeps me cool. Let me go in again. Let me get what I learned. Let me get my subversive. Yeah, subversive, baby. I'm definitely using Gigabyte. I don't know, y'all. I'm just gonna do some stuff. How about that? Let me put on some lip oil. Oh, I moved it. I was about to say, it was about to be some smoke in the city. I thought my stuff was gone, baby. I'm using the Fenty Beauty eyeshadow primer, and this is just a little cheap. It's a pony hair brush by Color. It's probably one of the least comfortable brushes I have, but it's really good for laying down my primer. But it's so uncomfortable. And because my eyes are sensitive, stabby brushes are just, they ain't my jam. Another thing I do, I take my small powder brush and I powder. I don't add any extra product or anything. I just take it and powder on top to keep the primer from creasing and to put a little bit of a barrier between the primer and the shadows so so that the primer doesn't grab a hold to the shadows and you don't have to worry about patchiness. All of my brushes are natural hair brushes. I don't very much like synthetic brushes because even the best of the best synthetic brushes irritate my eyes. Alright, so this is a Refer number 16 brush. And in this palette, I know this is a shimmer, but I'm going to start off with this shimmer because one thing about Pat McGrath's shimmers is that they're so creamy that you can literally use them as transitions. And I know a lot of people don't, but you can. Now this is just going to give a little bit of a base color to the lid, and we're going to build off of that. I'm using a big fluffy brush, and I'm working it through the crease. Pat McGrath's shadows are super pigmented, so you literally do not have to use a lot of color. Now, I have very large eyes, a lot of lid real estate, okay? So I blend mine up pretty high because I like to take advantage of my full lid space as much as possible. I'm gonna go in one more time. I'm gonna focus on building out. I'm gonna blend that out pretty high up underneath the brow bone. See, I'm gonna go into it again, tap it off, and now I'm gonna focus on blending that out higher underneath the brow bone. Every body shadow routine should be tailored differently according to eye shape, size, all of that. I'm gonna smoke out my sides a little bit. Yep, I know what I'm gonna do. All right. So now we're gonna go in with a smaller brush. We're gonna go in with a Refer 14. Okay. We're gonna go into this black. I'm using a smaller brush. I want to control where I put this. Okay. So I'm gonna start off by tapping where I want it to be. Tap, tap, tap. And now I'm going to start to tap inward because that's where I want this to be. I don't want it to be too high or any of that, okay? And I'm literally tapping this in the entire way. So now we've got right here, and we're going to blend. And we want to go right above the crease. Here's the crease. I'm going to go right above. No higher. You see that smoke? Now, I'm gonna pull it out a little bit. So, fun fact, I'm legally blind. Yeah, I'm legally blind in my left eye. So when I am working on my right eye, which is the eye that I can see out of, it takes so much concentration because this is the eye that I use. This is the eye. So I do a lot of this off of feel alone. And we're going to start to blend out. So now, I'm going to take that brush that we started off with, no extra product, and we're just going to blend out those edges, soften them up a little bit, and really help with the blend. And blending takes time. You cannot rush your blend. And that's where so many people mess up. They don't want to take the time it takes to really blend in your shadows. So here's what I want to do next. I think I want to do, yeah. All right, so I'm going to take Pat McGrath's Intensifies wand. And it's basically a wand that intensifies the colors of the shadows or whatever. So like a lot of people use like mixing mediums or glitter glue or whatever. This gives you the intensity without the stickiness. And it's in a stick form, so it's just a whole lot easier to use in concentrated areas. It really is brilliant technology. So I am going to take a flat shader. This is a Refer 02 brush. I'm gonna go into this shade right here. I'm gonna put this shade right next to the black, and I'm just gonna pat it in. Pull it up to about right there, right in the crease. I want to bring it into the black. Tiny bit. Not too much. Okay, so we're done with this one. Now I'm going to put a little bit more, and we're going to use Gigabyte. Sorry for the noise, y'all. It's my little puppy. What are you doing, buddy? Okay, so we're going to need another shader. And this is a Refer 02 brush. Okay, let y'all see this shade. Don't tell me y'all ain't feeling it. I'm gonna grab that shader from before. Tiny little bit of product. Blur the line. You want it to be a gradient. Like, we gotta do gradients. We gotta blend. Blending is so important, and it's so underutilized. And we want to focus a little bit on this inner corner situation. And this is where I'm going to go to my indie brands. And I think, so Riverside is where we need to go. So with this one, we're going to take a shader. And we're going to go back into this wand, this Intensifies wand. And that's one thing I love about this wand. You can use it over and over and over again. And the looks don't get clumpy or anything. So we're going to go into Riverside. And this is a Refer 21. All right, we're going to do the same over here. Of course, he wants to go out because I'm filming. All right, so we're gonna go back and get that shader with Gigabyte on it. And we're gonna go between Gigabyte and Riverside to blend them out like we did before. Take the brush with Riverside, no more product. Tap, 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 right at the convergence of the shades. Take the Gigabyte brush, no more product. Tap, tap, tap at the convergence. Tap, tap, tap at the convergence. So now, I'm gonna clean this brush off. I'm gonna take the artistry wand. What are you doing, buddy? Sorry guys, I'm a pet mom. And I'm gonna use it on this pencil brush. This is the Refer 3 brush, number 3. I'm gonna put some of this Intensifies wand on this pencil brush. I'm gonna put right along the lash line. Right along the lash line. A little bit of oil. Give me a second. I'm gonna take my dog out. Take that same brush that I cleaned off, the Refer 21, it's the flat shader. And I'm gonna go into this. I believe this is called Moonstone. I'm gonna go right against the lash line with it. I really like doing liner with shadows. People always kind of trip out when they find out I'm legally blind in my left eye. So they're like, you do hair and makeup, how do you do that? I have had severely diminished vision in my left eye for as long as I can remember. So I've just learned. So now I'm gonna go in the inner corner. I'm gonna go into Saints and Sinners palette. And I'm gonna use my Yano series brush number 10. And this is a squirrel hair brush. It's extremely soft. I want some bling in the inner corner, but I don't want it to be too much. Look at this eye, guys. Can you just, it's stunning. Stunning. All right, so what we're gonna do is, we're gonna do a tiny bit of Adam right here. Oh. I'm just gonna pull it through just a little bit. No extra product. Just open over. Just wrap it over. And I'm telling y'all, don't be afraid of color. Lots of color on the eyes. Don't be afraid of it. I'm gonna put just a little bit on the very inner lower. I'm for a vibrant eye. I think vibrant eyes are great. I mean, there's everybody like, oh, it's not wearable, it's not daily friendly. Who's to say though, right? So right on top of Adam, I'm gonna put a little bit of Juliet right there, just to bring a little bit of sparkle. So this is with Juliet, this is without Juliet. Right there. And you got yourself an eye, baby. Okay. So, now we're gonna do under the lash line. And this is an Esom brush. It's a professional brush line from Muse Beauty Pro. And it's the perfect shape and size for me to get under my lash line. I am going to take a little bit of this brown and this black together because I don't want it to be like too black. And I'm going to smudge underneath the outer, probably 3/4 of my lash line. So I'm going to take mostly brown and a tap of black. Tap it off. I'm going to start right in there. And I don't usually bring mine down too far. Like I said, I'm aging, so I do have some lines, fine lines, a little bit of lines under my eyes. So when I bring my shadows down too far, they settle into those lines and it accentuates them. So if you have like lines or any type of signs of aging or even some bagging under your eyes, it's my suggestion that you don't pull it down too far. And see, by mixing that brown with that black, so I did want some of the definition of the darker color, but I didn't want it to be too stark for this look. There are some times where I do want it like super heavy black, but in this look, I did not really want it that way. I am going to take the Intensifies wand. I use the ends of my brush to pull my water line down so that I don't get fingerprints. Okay, so with the wand right here, I'm going to go in a Gigabyte. Put that right there. I'm going to take this black. No extra product. Go right underneath. So now we are going to go into Bonnie. I think that looks beautiful. I'm going to turn the brush over and pull a little bit of Gigabyte back down. My dog's being territorial, excuse him. And the eyes are done, guys. Now let's finish this complexion. So I'm gonna use this bronzer by Nabla. I love their bronzer. Use my big Rephr brush, and this is the Rephr number 25. So I bronze right here, not in the hollows, because that makes me look a little sullen and sucking in. I want right in there. And I use a big fluffy brush because I want it to be diffused and not concentrated. Pull up to around here, right on the forehead. And I do a little bit of sculpting with my bronzer. I do some bronzing. I don't do contouring very much anymore. Sometimes I do, but for the most part, I rely on my bronzer. So I'm gonna come under here, and this is where the bronzing comes into play. And I just kind of shadow a little bit with my chin area away. You see the difference? Just sculpts it out just a little bit. Not too much. I'm gonna go right up in here. So I do like to bring my chin forward a little bit, since that's how my face is anyway. I have a very pronounced chin. So instead of working against that, I kind of just go with it. Now I'm gonna get my nose. And with my nose, I take a reference number 16, which is just another little fluffy eyeshadow brush. And I just come right in here on both sides. And right into the brow. You want to blend your bronzer, even your contour, right up into your brow, so that there's not this harsh line of demarcation. So I have a pretty pronounced nose. So right here on the sides, I do come in a little bit tight, but not too tight. I don't want my nose to look pinched. And because I have wider nostrils, I do bronze a tiny bit on my nostrils themselves, just to diminish the width a little bit. No higher, because if I do that, it'll look too pinched. And right here in the middle, beautiful. So for my blush, I'm going to use Pat McGrath's the Bridgerton palette. These baked blushes are absolutely phenomenal. I use the reference number 5 brush, and it's just a fluffy, slightly dense blush brush. So I don't want anything too much on my cheeks. I don't want it to look like I have dueling, places on my face. So I'm going to use the lighter colors. I'm actually going to start off with this peachy pink right here. I'm going to go right in here on top of my bronzer. So now I'm going to take some of this pinky shade. It's more pink than peach. I'm going to go right on the apples of my cheeks. Right there, right on the bridge of my nose. Because when you blush, does your nose not turn red? I'm going to take my powder brush, no extra product, and I'm just going to soften these edges. I want to look like I'm flushed. I don't want to look like somebody slapped me on both my cheeks. And I'm just going to stick with Pat. I'm going to use the highlighter that's right here in this palette. It's a very glittery highlighter. I don't really use a lot of glitter on my face anymore, but it's a beautiful highlighter. So I'm just going to, it's very, very pretty. And I was very pleasantly surprised because, again, I typically shy away from glitter on my face, but this, it made me happy. I'm gonna go right here in the middle, a little bit over here, a little bit over there. I'm gonna go on the tip of my nose, right above my lips. I really like to highlight right there because I have a pretty pronounced Cupid's bow, and I really love it. I do like a highlight, child. That's how you know your makeup good, baby. When you look at yourself and you go, I am going to spray my face. Now, this is one thing I do use that is like not luxury. There is nothing like the Maybelline Lasting Fix setting spray. Nothing like it. I have to make sure she's set, honey. So let's figure out what we're gonna do for her lip today. I think I'm gonna do I think I'm gonna do a nudish, pinkish lip. Yeah. And this is a lip liner from Adept Cosmetics, their Best in May collection. It's the indie brand that did that. They did the Dawn of Fall palette. I overline just a little bit. Yes, even if you have full lips, you can overline. This is a Donna pencil. I'm just gonna go right in the middle. Natasha makes some of the creamiest lip pencils. Okay, so this is Adept Cosmetics, one of their best in May lipsticks in Subtil. And it's a matte. And then this is my YesStyle lipstick. It's a little bit pinker than what I did. And this is in the shade 121. My baby, my dog. Just to brighten it up. YesStyle lip products. Top tier, guys. This is the Zoe Kravitz collab that they did. But seriously, truly top tier products. Their lip products. They make good complexion products too. I'm gonna go right around the edges with this Dior Cosmetics pencil in Underground. Overdraw just a bit. I'm just gonna use this Becca gloss. It's the OG. I don't even know if they make it anymore, man. So now I'm going to do lashes and I'll be back. Okay, I am back and this is the finished look. What do you guys think? I have on the Huda lashes, the Luxe Silk lashes in Lottie number 19. These are actually heavier, much heavier than I normally wear. I do wear statement lashes, but Huda lashes are just kind of heavy and just a little stiff, and I don't really like things like that on my eyes. But finished off again, you saw with my lip, a nice nude lip to go along with the look. Since the look is so bold in the eye area, I didn't want anything to overwhelm the eyes. I didn't want it to look like dueling, you know, features, like my eyes are fighting against my lip. Again, guys, there's nothing like Pat McGrath Subversive, the Mothership Subversive. That is literally my absolute favorite Pat McGrath palette, maybe one of my favorite palettes of all time. The look is amazing. I love this look. I feel like it came out great. I mean, I do makeup on myself all the time and I do makeup on clients, but I have not done it on my channel. And this is the first time. So I really hope you all enjoyed it. Leave your comments, any questions, anything like that. You know, I will go through and I'll look at them and I'll answer and I'll interact with you all. Let me know what you want to see next time. Let me know if you all want me to demo a bunch of different complexion products, or if you want me to do more shadow looks, if you know, and if you do want me to do more shadow looks, what type of looks, you know. Let me know if there's a specific brand you all want me to talk about or highlight, or you know, anything like that. Let me know. I have tons of luxury brands. It's kind of my jam. So yeah, guys, this was fun. It was the first. Hopefully won't be the last. Hope you all enjoy the look. And until next time, that's it. That's all. Y'all be safe. Do good things. Put love into the world. And I'll see you soon.